So for me, going to the underworld, we've spoken about how it's collecting pieces of ourselves that we've left behind, maybe through trauma, through experiences that we haven't digested properly, and maybe we've had some shock that's left parts of ourselves there. And then to go back later, we have to also, I think, be ready to visit that same place that caused the trauma. And so it might be overwhelming. And from a yoga point of view, that overwhelm is really managed by the way that we work our legs. Because the legs, if you can tolerate the leg work, it teaches you stability, and that stability kind of keeps you stable while the whole world is kind of falling apart. You just stand there like a rock while everything might be collapsing. So that's what the leg work does. And also, if you look at cosmic man from a yogic point of view, the legs are named after the layers of the underworld. They are, yeah. So exactly. So there are 7 layers of the underworld, and they're from the legs down. So like the thigh, the knee, the shin, top of the foot, the base of the foot. They're all different worlds of the underworld. So for me, that sort of says how important the leg work is for the journey. And so that's why I'm going to be focusing quite a lot on leg work, just for that learning how to tolerate stress. And there are ways, obviously, that can help us.
So what do you say to someone when something's coming up and they're on the mat and it's in a yoga setting? How do they work with the story, the beliefs, the emotions?
So it doesn't actually come up on the mat. It comes up after the mat. And that's because you're so in the moment while you're in the yoga, because I'm going to be leading it so that there is no space for the mind to be anywhere else, that there's no space for anything else to come in. But then it's, once someone is off the mat, they have the tools of how to, it's really, the thing is to come back to the now. So what I tend to do is I make sure that they can feel something, so their attention goes to what they're feeling. Like, can they smell anything? What are they sitting on? Where are their feet? And that kind of brings them back into the present moment, which sort of takes them away from the overwhelm of whatever the experience is. But they're tools to use in daily life as well. They're not just for the workshop. It's like a muscle. Anything that you do regularly becomes habitual. So that's why I find that the leg work is really important.
Oh, it's really interesting to sort of look at it from both perspectives.
Yeah.
I was actually really interested to talk about it with you. I suppose for me, it's using the body to do what you just said, to be able to manage it, to be able to hold it.
Yeah.
And then off the mat, in the exercises that I'll be doing with the group, that's when we can actually really go into it, right? Not so much, be present, but be present with the emotion. Go deep, deep, deep into the emotion, through the sort of transmutation, rather than moving, well, not that you're saying move away from it, but rather than moving away from it, be really conscious of the story. So bring that into the room, bring whatever happened. Right?
Yeah.
Whether that was relational or situational or societal, cultural, however the love self sort of got formed, to bring it into words, to bring it into relationship between us and the group members and each other, but mostly the person and that part themselves.
Yeah, and I think a big part of being able to do that is to get that little bit of space from it, so that it's not an emotional outburst where, like, it's an emotional feeling that we can't put into words yet if we're too close.
Yes, that is the danger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly, that's where meditation helps, and that's where yoga can help. But at the same time, I think there's something of really going into the center of that storm and having that moment of catharsis, and then having, as you can have in a therapy and in a group setting, a different experience, so that you get a different outcome. If you're actually strangely so flooded by something and you're in a really safe container and you have a different experience, it can change something. And then for me, then it's sort of yoga bookending it again to calm down the system, to integrate it, to sort of come back into the body and say, oh, I'm okay.
Yeah, and there's something about, if we just put it like in everyday language, for me, when something's going on, it's like you've got no space other than to tread water.
Yeah.
So you can't explain it. You're just basically dealing with it. And so all you can do is tread water.
Yeah.
And it's making sure that you don't drown.
It is. Yeah. But I suppose that often we do it in everyday life on our own.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of that space and you're on your own. I mean, I call it going down a trapdoor. It's like we're walking along, something happens, it presses that trauma part in our brain and we're down there. And what we need when we're down there is somebody to say, this is where you are.
Yeah.
Right? And if somebody can say, this is where you are, not just leaving us there, that's why sort of therapeutic settings can be so healing, because you can really say, I'm here with you. You're not in the underworld on your own. Yes, you have to do this on your own ultimately, but this is where you've gone. And I know what it's like to receive that, to have somebody say, this is so courageous that you've gone here.
Yep. I think there's also that, like when you have other people with you, like in this group setting that we're organizing, there's the ability to then become the observer.
Yeah.
So that you're no longer the one that is being traumatized in the moment, but you are now being able to look at it as something that has happened. And so you can observe what happened, but you don't have to relive that experience, which is what a lot of what trauma, it's like you can go there immediately. It's like you're there immediately.
You're there immediately, yeah. And you can't stop that happening.
No.
I mean, we're not, this workshop isn't going to be us taking people into their trauma.
No.
True. But if it happens. About that. But it happens, or if it happens. But it's having a different experience, so we might be in that trauma, but we have a repair, because the group, if it's been set up safely enough, which hopefully we're going to do, then not only do you witness other people having stuff, so you're not sort of going, oh my gosh, I'm the only one in this room with stuff. And when we go deep into our shame and our trauma, it says, I'm the only one. It's got a real sort of quite grandiose exclusivity about it, right? We all know that place. I'm the worst person in the world.
Exactly.
So, we're very special. We're especially awful. But when you're in a group setting and everybody's saying, actually, here's where I can go, and here's what's happened to me, and here's what's happening for me. It's very normalizing, which is healing in itself, to witness other people do something.
And I think also, like I like the idea of being able to express it in some form of like drawing, or it's so interesting how you don't even have to think about what you're drawing, but the expression comes from deep inside out onto the paper. And then you get to see where you are.
Yes. And also expressing like that. And I always say, this is not about artistic talent. That's the first thing to have to get beyond. It's just some sort of expression, which people can feel understandably resistant to. I used to feel very resistant to that. But it takes stuff that internally feels quite messy and quite unmanageable or chaotic or unpalatable, and you put it onto a piece of paper, and it's sort of, I can start to come into relationship with it a little bit more.
It's another way of viewing it. Because like when, again, just, during that experience that happened way back when, the reason why we reacted to it the way that we did is because we only had the chance to see it from one angle.
Right.
And then, it's like, oh, actually, now I can, maybe it was like that then, but really now I get to see it from a much wider a wider scope. And that's where meditation is really useful.
Yes.
Because we get to sort of observe.
Yeah.
Without wanting to change anything, without being hung up on an outcome. And then because of that sort of relinquishing and control, we actually get to see what really happened. You know, and then
or that we're just not there anymore.
Yeah, and that too. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because the body can feel like it's still there. It feels like it's still 2 years old or 15 years old or whatever it might be.
That part of it, yeah.
That part of it,
Yeah.
yeah. But actually, we can say it is no longer the case.
But there are things that 2-year-old that wasn't resolved person, part of oneself, can show themselves if they get triggered by certain situations.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is also part of this, is that once it's integrated, is that no longer is going to happen.
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think it does keep happening.
Do you?
Because yeah, I do. And I think that's quite, personally, I think that's really important to acknowledge. So it's not about it not happening. It's more about, if you think about the trapdoor analogy, you know, when we first go into, especially when it's kind of complex trauma, which the developmental stuff often is, we go down there time and time and time again. So this might have been happening for decades, you know, falling down this trapdoor, where have I gone? And over time, what we can do is start to say, I know where I am. I mean, eventually you might be able to say, I can see it coming and I'll try and avoid it. But I think if we put that expectation on ourselves never to go down there, it's more about how quickly can I find where I am?
Yeah.
What resources can I find to bring compassion and love to that part of me when I'm there? And then how quickly can I recover from it?
Yeah, so that's interesting, because I do, maybe like serious trauma, yes, I understand.
Yeah.
But there are like the other parts that are not so serious.
Yeah.
They are, you know, vulnerable parts of ourselves that I think, you know, we can overcome them because they're impulses. You know, like from a meditation point of view, everything is an impulse that we've created over repetition. And if we, you know, have this groove that we're repeating on, it's always easier and easier to go down there. But if we start another groove, then over time, the old groove can actually wear away and never be visited again, because we no longer are that person that used to fall into those traps.
Because I think I think that does work for both the sort of outer layers, you know, certainly stuff that I've had. And actually, I was trying to think of an example the other day. I was having to write something.
Yeah.
Or it was or a client session, I can't remember which. I was trying to think of an example, a thing that I used to do that I just no longer do. And it used to be at the tip of my fingertips to be able to reel off this example. And I just couldn't remember it, because I thought, okay, it's gone. It's just one of those things that has now just gone.
But I mean, I'm just talking from my experience. I have seen things that were ruling my life do not rule my life anymore at all. They don't even come into the equation.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I'm talking 30 years, maybe more, but it is like, it's not an one-off thing that we're gonna, it's like an ongoing path that never ends.
It's an ongoing path that never ends.
Yeah. And in a way that's kind of refreshing, because it means that there's no expectation to, you know, complete something.
Yeah.
It's just another tiny little notch in that direction.
Exactly.
And sometimes we go this way and then we go down and then we come up and then we go. And it's just, there's no measuring it on that scale.
And we're hoping that this weekend is going to be a notch.
Notch, of course, absolutely.
Notch on people's paths. And I mean, my experience as well, the sort of the alchemy, you know, with this really deep stuff, it changes in a mysterious way as well. I mean, it changes through meditation. We have to do that meditation practice, because if we're just in the center of that shame, nothing ever moves. So we have to have something in us, right, that says, I'm witnessing that this happened to me, or that this is part of me. But my experience is also really going into the center of it and being able to sit in the center of it.
Yeah.
Without saying, I know what needs to happen. I mean, when we're still in control like that, saying this is what I need, this is what I know has to happen for this wound to fix itself, it doesn't.
Yes, true.
It just
runs
doesn't.
away.
And we can get really stuck there. I know that place. I can get very stuck there.
Yeah.
And it's only when I give up and I say, okay, I'm willing to sit in this and let go of what I think needs to happen, and something changes.
Yeah, it's true. And also, I find that, just continuing on from what you said, is that something magical like that can only happen when we let go.
Yeah.
Because it always takes a tiny bit longer than the time that we're giving it.
Yeah.
And, it's like, why hasn't it happened? But then as soon as we let go and we watch, it happens for just that tiny bit longer. So it's right there.
Yeah.
And
once the brain has gone around every single angle, and it's around. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Torture.
True. And so it's really it's also learning how to let go. Yeah. But I wanted to also talk about what happens after the underworld. After that, going down into the depths and coming back. I mean, for me, it was always those mythological stories or even the fairy tales where the hero starts in any state that is other than normal. They're either asleep, they're bored, whatever. There's some state that is the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in children's books, it's always the parents going out of the scene.
Oh, exactly. So something other than normal.
Yeah.
And then, they start their journey and they sort of head down. They've got this aim. They have to get the golden fleece or whatever it is. And once they go into these new energies, they have to first acclimatize. They have to find their way. Then they find the treasure, and then they have to make it back. And it's that making it back where once you've got this extra thing, this precious, precious thing, is to be able to get back without getting caught.
Because you'll be tested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you'll be tested.
Kickback. I call that kickback.
Okay.
Sort of whenever there's been it's also just being tested, isn't it?
Yeah.
But whenever there's been a breakthrough, something's going to come along to say, have you really got this? Are you sure? Because maybe the old is actually, that was accurate. This wasn't real.
Yeah. I mean, from a state of mind point of view, like if I think about in meditation, once you've got an opening,
yeah,
all of a sudden your state of mind has gone from living in this much to this much.
Yeah.
So then you have all these new energies to navigate simultaneously. And so it's actually harder. Mm-hmm. The meditation is harder because now you've got all these new sensations that are happening that now I can't even meditate like I used to. So you have to stand with it and slowly, slowly keep your space and make it back. And so that's what the Sunday is going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Integration day.
Integration, yeah.
Integration and healing day, and also then into life. I mean, in alchemy, there are 4 main stages. So the descent into the underworld is the Negredo phase, which is sort of foggy and chaotic and like walking through a boggy forest and you're just having to walk one foot in front of the other. So that's absolutely the hardest bit of the underworld. Find some sort of clarity and things start to lighten. That's the albedo, the whitening phase.
Yeah.
Where you suddenly have a little bit of insight, kind of know where you are and what's going on, and things start to feel a bit lighter. There's then the gold moment, so Trinitas, which is the aha moment of, okay, I've got it now. You're at the top of the mountain, maybe the awakening phase in the biggest terms, right? But then what they call the greater work is the rubedo, which is the reddening.
The what?
The reddening, the rubedo phase, which is coming down the mountain, bringing your gold, coming back into life. So we want to stay at the top of the mountain because that feels really good, but it isn't life. So, okay, so how do we bring this piece of self or insight or whatever we've got back into service, into daily life. And that's hard. Call it the greater work.
See, yeah, that makes me just think about, in order to be more of one's authentic self, we also have to give up something.
Yeah.
There's always that, there has to be a trade-off, because there's always a payment for everything.
Paying the ferryman.
Yeah. Stay where we are is a payment.
Yeah.
To move forward is a payment.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the other thing is, are we willing to let go of that false part of ourselves to become more of who we truly are?
Yeah.
And it's all a choice. Nobody's forcing anyone to do anything.
Absolutely.
And it's not that we even can do it the first time round. Maybe we're not ready. That's also fine. We've actually got a glimpse, and that is precious.
That often happens, doesn't it? Sort of between, I mean, Negredo and Albedo. It's sort of that moment of is this important enough for me to really see the truth? And often that is the moment before. Actually, I don't know between Negredo and Albedo and Trinitas, whatever. But before we sort of really get on our knees and say, "Okay, I'm willing to see this truth, wherever the consequence leads me."
Yeah.
That total surrender moment.
And then at some point in one's life, you go, well, I've got no choice. This is the only way that I can go.
And then that happens time and time and time.
Yeah. There is no other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, that's also a choice.
Absolutely. It's all a choice. Yeah.
So, yeah, have we left anything else?
Maybe we could talk about, you know, why people might sort of think this is for me. You know, how might this be showing up in daily life more than
that's a good idea.
I'm going through a major trauma that I want to come and work through on a weekend. But actually, it's noticing yourself just not being quite true, noticing yourself adapting, people pleasing, feeling a level of dissatisfaction that's kind of rumbling underneath the surface, thinking there's, talking in the sense of this wasn't me that did that thing, or a sense of there's just a part of myself that I feel like I'm holding back in the world, or I want to be more creative. That's often one, but I feel like I'm holding myself back and I'm afraid to be creative.
Yeah,
Do you think of any others? There's loads.
Yeah, the image that I'm getting is that I just don't fit in here anymore.
Yeah.
I don't fit in here. And then for me, that's definitely the skin is going to shed, and I just need a bit of help.
Yeah.
Sometimes, also food starts to taste different. I start to take off my jewelry when I'm about to go through a transformation. Like I just sort of go to like neutral everything. No makeup, no jewelry, not really interested in what I'm wearing, because I'm already, I think, down there in the depths, right? And so you're just treading water. You're just doing the essential. Yeah. So those are the signs for me.
Yeah. Or it's just a sense of I'm not being quite myself.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what I mean when I say that. Right.
Yeah.
Who am I?
Yeah, things are just, you feel that, come on.
Right. There's got to be more. There's just something slightly off.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just not quite in my center, or
you just, you want to go and see what it's all about.
Or you just want to experience, how did yoga and come together? What does that look like?
Yeah, because
curious.
I mean, yoga is sequences or physical movement, physical shapes, but really it's an internal practice. And so once you've got past the, where does my leg go? Where does my hand, position? It's really about using yoga as a tool to observe the self. And so if you have a daily practice, for example, no matter how small that daily practice is, every time you do your practice, you're getting to see where you are or where you're not, or how did yesterday affect you? How is the climate changing? It becomes your mirror, and it also becomes your pillar. because it's that space where you have time for yourself, to be with yourself. It's like that relationship, the only relationship.
And from the yoga perspective, what are people going to take away?
I was thinking that I would like give them a personal asana, because people have got different things that they need to work with that can unblock energy in certain places. Like, so the physical structure is also holding stuff, and you can tell, like, if somebody walks around like that, you can sort of get an idea of what they're feeling all the time. And so if you can't access the feeling and change the feeling, you can slowly chisel away at the shape that's holding that feeling to then give them a different feeling, So depending on everyone's obstructions physically will depend on what asana can help them slowly chisel away at that obstruction. And how about from your side?
So from my side, we're going to do creative imagination techniques, visualization, to find the part that we'll be working with. People might come aware of what they want to work with, but might discover something else through that. We'll then be doing group experiential exercises, which will be really working with that part consciously. And through feeling and through relationship as well. But what we'll be offering is some sort of creative or imaginal practice to take away, so that that part can continue to be looked after. And that will go really nicely hand in hand with the personalized yoga as well. So people can be doing their physical practice and then do a sort of meditative practice, but in that creative imagination way. We go into a very sensitive place on a weekend like that. The world is not generally going to meet us in a sensitive place. So we'll make sure that we close the weekends in a way that people feel ready and equipped to walk back out into London.
For sure.
The streets of London.
Do you know what? We've all got trauma in some way.
We all have trauma in some way.
It doesn't have to be huge, but we've all gone through some kind of trauma. I mean, if you haven't been through any trauma, then I think you're in denial.
Yeah. I agree. Something you were saying earlier was about expanding the comfort zone, really. Right. And there is a real difference in work like this between, plowing through your defenses and kind of jumping off the cliff and having gone too far for your own nervous system, and going out of the comfort zone, which is the only place where we grow. So I'll be talking about...
What do you mean it's the only place?
Well, the only place that we can grow is when we leave the known.
Yeah, I thought you were saying in the comfort zone is the only place.
No, we can't grow in the comfort zone
at
all. There's no growth without something. I don't know what. There's no growth without discomfort.
Yeah.
But it's that we'll be talking about, how do you find that balance on this weekend? And you can talk about it from the physical side, what are the physical symptoms? I can talk about it from the emotional side. And
so also the mental stuff.
And the mental stuff, exactly. So it's not, it's not you have to come and the demand is to go into your biggest trauma to present it to the group, and then you're going to walk out. Not at all.
Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Slowly.
Safety.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Hope you are too.